Hi, my name is Claire. I live in Chicago, Illinois, and my phone number is 3.
How can I sum up 10 years in Chicago? In apartments, in jobs, in photo booth photos, in roommates, in first dates, in short films made about first dates, in no cat, then cat, in the number of birthday balloons popped in my eye.
Happy birthday.
I said, how can I sum up 10 years in Chicago? When I first got here, I thought I would give comedy 2 years. 2 years seemed like a reasonable window to either achieve success or accept defeat. It took me a year to even get started.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Now, it's been 10. I once heard the advice, if you knew achieving your dreams would take you twice as long as you think it's going to, would you still try? If you had told me at 23 that I'd work at Second City and be on main stage, but that I'd be 30 years old, I think I would have said, that's okay, I don't want to wait around. But it did happen, and it didn't feel like waiting around. It was fun all along. It was living and trying and doing stuff. The waiting is only the waiting if you feel like you're waiting. I'll say this. I'm disappointed that I didn't write a book, but I did make a zine, and I wrote shows, many shows, and made videos, and pitched and developed 2 video games, which was a major zag for me, and I wrote on a bunch of others. At one point in 2018, I sat down and made a timeline of the last 4 years, because I was losing track of what happened when and what was at the same time as what. But there are too many events to wade through now, so I have to do things like make this video to have any sort of semblance of power or organization over the situation. The situation being, of course, time passing. Relentlessly. What's nice about 10 years is that it gives you the chance to prove yourself to yourself. You don't have to be your best, most clever, most adventurous and bright, most kind self every day. But if you generally commit to being good and you keep working on things you care about, then 10 years will give you something to show for it. 10 years gives you a reputation, good or bad. It gives you lists. Things you did, places you went,
Claire, what are you doing up there?
people you loved. A year can go either way. You can be pretty disappointed by what happens in a year. But 10 stacked together and you can see a life, a trend, a person. I spent a good chunk of this decade feeling old and fearing getting old. The good news is that I felt the oldest and most worried when I was approaching 29. When I hit 30, I felt a little better, and I felt young and beautiful and promising, for the most part, ever since. I think I feel better now because I've aged out of the possibility of being a wonderkind. I can no longer come out of nowhere. I've been here. I used to reflexively Google a successful person's name plus age, but lots of big-time directors, musicians, and artists are younger than me now, so I rarely check. I'll direct a movie when I direct a movie, and when it happens, I hope a lot of 29-year-olds furiously Google Claire McFadden plus age and feel relieved. You have time. I wanted to swing out of Chicago on a vine. The vine being a job so tantalizing it would be worth moving to a more expensive, more competitive city far away from my family. But at the close of a decade, I don't want to wait for a vine, because then that feels like waiting. I've made opportunities here, and I'll make them in Los Angeles, where I'm headed, to be a star. But this time, I have baggage. A cat, a man, a manager, a writing partner, a bunch of new best friends, and a body of work. I wanted to sum up and encapsulate this decade in Chicago because I want to say a proper goodbye, to look at this phase of my life, basically the start of capital A adulthood, with big open eyes and appreciate it so I can strive forward and live in a new place without nostalgically walking the streets of memory. But it's never as simple as that, and that really pisses me off. I'm very serious. When I look back at myself at 23, I was hopeful, and it worked out beautifully and painfully, so why shouldn't I be hopeful now?